and Secretary General, Director of the Office for South-South Cooperation, other colleagues on the podium, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all of you to this session of a panel discussion along with the UN Office of South-South Cooperation. As you are all aware, the success of the implementation of the SDGs will depend on the mobilization of adequate resources, a fact recognized in SDG 17 itself. The task before us is therefore huge, and having such discussions are entirely appropriate, especially as we prepare for the South-South Cooperation Conference, which is also known as the BAPA Plus 40 Conference in Argentina in a few months' time. What I will do is, as you're aware, India has been an active development partner promoting South-South cooperation for many, many years. And we have many fora in which we promote this. We have what's called the India-Africa Forum Summit, where we cooperate with all African countries. We also have a forum for the Pacific Islands. It's called FIPIC, or the Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation. But what I'll do is try and place before you some examples of what we do here at the United Nations in cooperation with the Office for South-South Cooperation. I will also try and just give you some examples so that you understand how innovative we could be in these matters. Now, last June, in 2017 June, we started India United Nations Development Partnership Program along with the Office of South-South Cooperation. And I'll give you 5 examples of how you can be innovative if you are new, if you are willing to try to be open and pragmatic in promoting South-South cooperation. So the very first project we had was not a single country project, but a multi-country project. And we took that with 7 countries from the Pacific because it was focused on climate resilience. Climate resilience knows no borders. So if you would like transboundary challenges to be addressed, you can't address them in one country or in a country-specific manner. You could perhaps try and address them in a region-specific manner. So we had this first project with several Pacific Island countries. It helped us to bring a regional perspective beyond a national perspective, and also made the project very efficient because you could have the same sort of modules replicated in different countries of the region. That was innovative because that was the first project, yet it was not the traditional form of South-South cooperation of funding one country. Let me give you another example of one country and how you could be innovative with that. We had a project in Benin on agriculture. This was also an early project. What happened was, rather than being a one-country project, it led to a very interesting innovation of seed money. The government, we provided funding for the government of Benin for a project which was for X amount of dollars, and then they found that this project was so good that they wanted other people to fund it as well as the government itself. So what they did was they leveraged that money 5 times and got funding from different government organizations as well as from different UN organizations, and what went in at X became 5X, purely because we were early in providing that seed money for that. So you could leverage development partnerships of this sort even within a country and use it to multiply what is available to you in terms of funding. I can give you another example. Usually funds require visibility. They want to highlight what they have done, so they try and have projects where are totally funded by one source of funding. We came across a project in Uruguay where it was being funded by somebody, but there were critical gaps available. We again looked at it and said, well, why not provide the funding to fulfill that project? Otherwise, it would not have been fulfilled. So here is another innovative way of funding. It provided a crucial assistance at a time when it was needed to fill in gaps when it was available. So that's a third type of trying to be innovative, not trying to say, well, I own this, I want credibility, I want visibility, etc. Another interesting concept we had was with my colleague who's sitting here. We met for a very short while. He represents the Pacific Islands Development Forum. And they were looking at the demonstration effects of solar. So they had a very interesting initiative called the Solar Head of State Initiative. That initiative was for all Pacific Islands and their headquarters. They would use solar power for powering up their office, but also the residences of all the Pacific leaders. Then it would have a demonstration effect. So we partnered with them. This was an outcome of discussion which was perhaps half an hour, but its impact is being felt widely, and its demonstration effect is such that we never thought when we met for half an hour that this would be the impact of that project. I can also perhaps give you one last way in which how we could be innovative in financing is in disaster recovery. Disaster recovery is a matter which just happens suddenly, so you can't plan for it. So these projects can't be available at the beginning, cannot be available in accordance with the timeline and the life cycle that generally funding is provided for. So what we worked out is that if there is a disaster, we put in a specific amount, even before the projects are approved. So you could work out projects as and when you require to meet disaster, adverse impacts of disaster and recovery processes. We've done this in some Caribbean states and in Pacific Islands. So I just thought I'll give you these variety of opportunities where you can be innovative if you have the willingness to engage and the ability to work with various agencies. Another example I can give you is, apart from the India Union Development Fund, we have a window specifically for Commonwealth countries. Now, ordinarily, countries who provide the funding also insist that they should be the ones who work out whether the project should be approved or not. In this case, we have a Commonwealth country chosen on a rotational basis to be part of the directors who would be approving the projects, apart from the Office of South-South Cooperation and a representative for India. The idea being that peer review is very important in trying to assess a project and to do due diligence regarding the project. I will end with our entire approach being encapsulated in what we call the 1, 2, 3 approach. Our idea is that we would approve projects within 1 month of the project being received. We hope that those projects can be completed in 2 years, and in a period of 3 years, no project should continue beyond that. And our idea is to have a demonstration effect and a solidarity with various developing countries through this 1, 2, 3 approach for South-South cooperation. These are only examples of what can be done if you are flexible, if you are willing to be innovative in funding projects from the South. So I thank you all very much for listening to me patiently, but I'm certain there are many, many other interesting suggestions that will come up, and I am here to listen to the others who have to share their experiences here. Thank you very much.